Well, we're all sitting around waiting for silver to explode in value beginning in August. Not sure about all that stuff. I was watching Ron Paul on a video just recently tearing up Ben Bernanke about, reminding him about it's the power of Congress to manage the monetary system and the money supply and all that type of stuff. And, I'm almost thinking to myself, oh man, I wouldn't be doing it that strategy. I'd be letting them do quantitative easing because that's what's going to really make the metals explode. But it's probably not necessary to make the metals explode anyway, because as it is, most of the demand for like gold, for instance, and even silver probably, I'm not sure what the numbers are for demand for silver, but about almost 60% of the demand for gold is actually coming out of Asia. China, India, and Vietnam. Those three countries and other Asian countries too. So that's going to put a heavy demand on gold. And the other thing is interest rates are going to stay low for a long, long time. Supposedly, maybe they're creeping up a very, very tiny amount, but that's about it. And that's that will, and actually that being that way says the Federal Reserve's got less and less tools in the toolbox to actually stimulate the economy. One was through lowering interest rates, right? Another's through quantitative easing. But quantitative easing has got too much. It's too much of a hot potato right now for them to do that. So I guess the other option is devaluing the dollar by the appreciation of the yuan. That seems to be coming up. I don't know if it's going to be super dramatic event or anything like I know Pastor Lindsey Williams says 40% devaluation of the dollar by the end of, well, fill in a year. It could be 2010, 2011, 2012. Next year he'll say the same thing. I got to go by reality. I think there is going to be a devaluation of the dollar. The dollar looks strong as all hell right now. I know Jim Rogers says he doesn't like the dollar, but he's buying it. Yeah, whatever. I like listening to Jim Rogers, but I never really get as much solid information out of him as I do Mark Faber. But Jim Rogers has been 100% spot on with the agriculture, and that's due to a lot of weather-related events, not just in the United States, but supply issues, a lot of different things going on throughout the world. Agriculture is going up. Now, I want to skip around on a couple different things and talk not just about silver, too. We're sitting around waiting for silver to blow up, and it's getting kind of boring. But I guess maybe I do want to interject a couple things. When it does start exploding, don't trust the silver gurus out there. Don't trust them. I don't know what the hell else to put it. The smartest people sold on April 28th. It was also other people, and other smart people sold in the summer of 2011, like July, August, and the beginning of September when it was up into 40 and above. And they're all out of it by the crash. Now, I remember looking at some of the older predictions for, like, say, gold. Gold, there's stuff out on YouTube. Gold's going to be $8,500 by the end of 2012. Even Bob Chapman in early 20, I know he's deceased, but I'm not going to knock him here, but I'm just saying, he said $3,200 gold in 2012. He was saying that early in the year when it looked like it was going up, back in January, And I also looked at some stuff, and I'm going to remind people of this stuff because I want people to beware. Eric Sprott, he's no hero of mine. And, I did pick up stories from Seeking Alpha saying that the PSLV insiders were selling their silver positions and that you should too. And that was, actually, I wish I saw that article and I was doing other research instead of listening to other people in the silver experts because I would have been up a lot more money. See, I get pissed off at that type of stuff because I realize some of the people that are on YouTube have no clue what's going on. So I got a mixture of conspiracy theory, with the, I don't know if it's so much of a theory, but a mixture, and actually standard, financial wisdom, which comes from, the people that been portraying themselves as financial wizards for many years. Although, like we stated before, financial wizards all got it wrong about buying gold way back when, right? They would have been way up. But Eric's there was like a number of people that that were calling in articles out there. If you look deep enough, Seeking Alpha had some of them about selling PSLV were selling their shares back, and they printed that article in September. That was before the big crash that happened in silver, at the end of September with the margin rate increases and all this garbage. And I also found that those margin rate increases were interesting because they did platinum and palladium, which weren't even up for the year. So I was kind of wondering why they needed to do a margin increase on those metals. But I smell conspiracy there all the way. But I was looking at interviews when Eric Sprott was being interviewed back in July 2011. Smooth as all hell, just saying silver's going way up by the end of the year. But he was selling off, and other people were selling off on PSLV that knew better. So I just think people ought to watch what the hell's going on, and next time this stuff goes up, they gain your trust. I don't want to get too deep into this stuff. But anyway, I'll even mention a couple things about leverage here real fast. I'm going to skip around on different things. Don't ever buy options. I don't like those damn things. I think you could buy like a spread options and junk like that. I don't mess with that. If I got a hard premonition that I think something's going to go up, I will just buy double leverage and hold it, because double leverage erodes, but it's not as bad as an erosion rate as triple leverage. Now, one I bought a while ago was not much of it, but it was double leverage agriculture. And boy, it was looking like crap early in the year. It was way down, but now it's actually up. So it goes to show you, double leverage you can kind of hang on to for a little while. Not like extremely long. It's going to go to zero eventually. But if you have a very good idea that something's going to go up, you're probably better off holding double leverage than triple leverage. Triple leverage is something that you might want to hold for like a couple days. That's about it. A week, get rid of that stuff fast, because that erodes a lot faster. Now, I also I'm going to touch on various topics in this thing, but there's another guy out there, and I saw this all over the place with the emails coming in about buying oil options and stuff. I was Dr. Kent Moore's, and he was saying that oil was going to be $150 to $200 a barrel by June or 1st or July 1st, I believe it was, one of those dates. And actually oil hit about $75 a barrel during that period, right about this target time. I can't remember the exact date. I think it was sometime in June. It was either beginning of June or end of June. But the spiel was in all these emails was that buy options, you'll make 10 times the money. Well, if people bought those options, they speculated in oil was going to be $150 a barrel. Well, they lost all their money. That's why I don't like those damn things. Now, I got speculation on double leverage oil, which is way down. I'm still holding it because I think it's going to play out. I don't know when, but I think something's coming up with the Iran, and when it does, there'll be some event. As long as I'm up on it, I sell it. So, if you think that silver's going up, probably better off with double leverage than going triple leverage. Personally, I'm going to wait for possibly an outside event. I don't know, this Olympics things is coming up pretty soon. So that may be something that to watch for. If there's an outside event in the Olympics like 9/11 happened back in 2001, hey, that would be the time to buy. But I'd probably buy on double leverage versus triple leverage. And some other things I want to talk a little bit about metals. Copper. Copper's not going to do as good as silver when it starts flying up, but it's going to do pretty damn good because it's kind of in a short supply. It's one of those things that the demand is actually higher than the supply. Case of aluminum and stuff, other base metals, aluminum right now the supply is much higher. Aluminum price is going to be very depressed. Plus, aluminum is like the most abundant base metal out there. But copper actually is going to go up pretty good. But I would advise people against buying any of those stupid copper bullion bars. those things are the biggest ripoff. Well, in my opinion, they're a major ripoff because copper's like $3.50 a pound. I mean, when you're buying this stuff in the form of a bullion bar, you're probably paying like $30 a pound or some garbage like that. I think the cheapest way to get copper is just get the physical nickels, which are 75% copper, 25% nickel, and the only thing nickel's really mainly used in, I think over half the stuff is in stainless steel. So nickel goes up a lot if construction goes up a lot. And Chinese construction looks like garbage, but they're probably going to spend all their money locally now to boost up their economy through finishing up construction projects. That might be the big impetus to get going that way. And I did mention before that ergo, if you just follow that out, China's going to stimulate their own economy and they're going to maintain a 7.5 to 8% growth rate. They're not going to be buying U.S. Treasury toilet paper notes, and that bodes very bad for the dollar. And so I think there is a big impetus out there that gold is going to start cooking up a lot in the future. So I want to do an unrelated story. This is about a story from Virginia City in Montana. This damn thing starts working here. This was about a very, very famous prostitute at this time, and it was in Virginia City, Montana. It was during the Comstock Lode Strike in 1859. It was Juliette Burlette, and she was basically born in France but came from England, and very popular there. She was the local firefighters made her an honorary member of the Virginia Engine Company #1. She was finally murdered by somebody who was a French drifter and a jewel thief. He stole all her jewels and stuff. But it was kind of they have today. There must have been a lot of money floating around during the Comstock Lode Strike in Virginia City, Montana. Now, actually, nearby that area, you actually have Moen, M-O-E-N, mining. So, and that's all privately owned. It's not even, I don't even think it's public or anything like that. It's just a private place. That's still a major gold producer in that area too, and silver. So some silver, but mainly gold. But they're still pulling a lot of metals out in those areas in Montana, but not Virginia City per se. She actually when she quickly took up prostitution because she was charging $1,000 a night for her services. This is back in the mid 1800s. So that was about 1,000 ounces of silver, I'd imagine, or more than that, back in the 1800s. So probably, I don't know, $30,000 to $50,000 a night, or whatever the hell that is. So she's making a couple bucks off of this stuff, and the whole town was she was very popular with the town, which was amazing. So it's kind of a weird twist on silver, but it was like there was a lot of money to be made in Virginia City, and she actually bought her own place and was able to build a very large brothel called Julia's Palace, and she staffed it with the best girls from San Francisco, served French wine and cuisine and wines, and dressed herself and her girls in the latest Parisian fashions, and was a good friend to the miners. Now, this is the best thing this is always the angle I always looked at, if this is basically where they target people with got money, or people that normally have a new paycheck in their hand. These are the ones that target this kind of money. And it always was the joke that the women have all the money, despite what it appears to be on the surface. The women have total control. They have all the money. But back in that time, in 1800s, $1,000 a night, which I don't know what that is today. I think if you're taking the exchange rate or what the dollar happened to it, it's probably like $50,000 or more. But I'd imagine that $1,000 at that time was $1,000 ounces of silver. Now this is right off of Wikipedia, so I don't know if this is totally accurate or not, because that seems a little crazy. I mean, but the that is the fastest way to part your silver and gold from people, and that's another angle to be aware of. So, we got the scammers out there with the selling silver. You got the scammers out there in the physical markets. You got the scammers out there in the stock markets, and you got other ones. I guess Julia Burlett, and she was very popular, and she probably could have funded the U.S. government at that time with the kind of money she was making. So, who knows? But I do want to remind people, even though without QE coming up, there's a number of factors that are probably going to drive the metals up a lot, and a lot of it is coming from Asia. The Americans are too stupid to buy silver and gold. The Asians are buying it. The Americans are dumb. So they're going to be left out in the cold, and in the future, if we might see a quantitative easing. I noticed that Ron Paul is putting a hell of a lot of heat on Ben Bernanke about quantitative easing, just printing money. You don't have authority to do this stuff. Personally, I'd be like, Ron, shut up. Just let him do the damn. I'd be like, Ben, when are you going to do quantitative easing? The economy looks pretty weak. That's what I'd be doing. I'd just be loaded up on gold and silver, platinum, palladium. Let him print away, And if he told me when he was going to do it, I'd jump in there on leverage and for the rest of it and make a bundle. So, I know the money would be worth less than it was, but you'd be still cooking way ahead of everything else, and that's the name of the game. So, I don't know. It looks like Ron Paul, is the leader of trouncing on Ben Bernanke for QE. So, it really would have to be a major emergency for him to do something. So I'm looking at, what's going on with that. But still, Asian demand is very high. And Asians are not going to be buying U.S. treasuries. And China, as a matter of fact, is also buying up U.S. dollars from other nations who are holding U.S. dollars and giving them their currency, the Chinese yuan, in exchange for it. So that's the game that's going on. So kind of hit a hodgepodge of different things here on this video, but hey, what the hell? It's like silver is just the one topic that is just what's going on and everything. I think actually, you should look at other things. Right now, oil being kind of depressed. I don't know. I got it higher than I did than I should have, but I still think it's going to be a winning bet. So, not sure about silver going up as fast as I was saying before. The main reason is because all the typical crowd is coming out there starting to call for $70, $75 silver by the end of the year. I don't know about that now because I don't trust those guys at all. And I'm going to watch carefully and sell some and try to guess pullbacks. So we shall see.